What's up, everybody, for another video on follow-ups and how to do them correctly. Today, I've got Gaetano DINARDI. Did I say it right?
Yeah, DINARDI, what's
All right.
up?
Hey, man. Thanks for joining. Gaetano comes from Sales Hacker. You want to just introduce yourself? I'm going to probably butcher it again.
Yeah, man. What's up, everyone? My name's Gaetano. I run digital marketing at Sales Hacker. Obviously, big fan of Sujin, big fan of Mailshake. We've done a lot of campaigns together, a lot of co-marketing stuff, blog articles, webinars, you name it. And it's always a pleasure, Sujin, to work with you. So thanks for having me. And I'm pretty excited to be here, man. Thanks a lot.
Yeah, my pleasure. All right, let's jump into it. So you've probably, you're in the sales industry, you're in the marketing space. You've probably seen a lot of follow-up emails. You've probably seen a lot of cold emails. Like, let's jump into the big thing. Like, what are the things you see wrong with most follow-ups?
Yeah, I think I kind of break down follow-ups into like two categories of follow-ups. If it's absolutely cold, like you sent your first initial outreach and they haven't connected with you yet at all, and you're being like persistent to try to get them to notice you. There's like the notice me follow-up. And then there's the follow-up where like you've already had that first meeting and you're trying to kind of just continue the conversation and keep it going. And you're trying to follow up to keep the momentum going. So I kind of break the follow-ups into those two categories. I don't know if you like that or if you think that's
that's very, that makes sense. So I mean, let's talk about you've had a meeting. Follow up.
Yeah.
Like, what's a good follow up, right?
Yeah. Well, the one thing that I've had a lot of success with my follow-ups after I've had a meeting with someone is I just ask them straight up, how would you like me to follow up with you and when? So you don't leave it out in the open. Like, you don't put it into a black box and just assume that they want to be emailed or assume that they want to be called. So like, I'll be like, would you prefer that I email you, that I call you, text you? And a lot of times they'll be, yeah, I like text, man. I get like millions of emails. So like text is dope. Or if it's email, I'll say something like, would you like me to put something in the subject line so I stand out from all that noise? So like, those are just some quick little actionable tips that I follow that have been pretty successful for me.
I love it. So just to make sure I reiterate so everyone here got how important what you just said is, you're pretty much asking the person on the other end what they want and how they want to be communicated with.
Oh yeah.
And you follow that. And then you're even saying like, is there something I should put in the subject line? And that's awesome. I mean, they're telling you exactly what to do. And I'm pretty sure you're going to remember that. And it's all about the context of how the follow-up happens. That's awesome.
Exactly. Yeah. Have you ever heard of the 5 love languages?
I have, yeah, but tell me more. More.
Yeah. So this is how I like keep this in mind. So like in relationships with your significant other, there's usually 5 ways that every person likes to be loved. It's usually like they want you to spend time with them. They want gifts, physical acts of appreciation or whatever. And I always try to keep that in mind because like prospects are really no different. They have ways that they want to be loved, so to speak. But in this case, it's just ways that they want to do business. So I try to like kind of parallel that all the time. And it keeps me like, in the right frame of mind to keep them first and not me first.
Makes sense. Yeah. Awesome. And we'll link in the show notes at the very bottom of here. We'll link the 5 love languages. It's a book, right? I think.
Yeah, it's a book. There's like an article out on it that's like pretty popular. It's pretty cool. It's a fascinating concept, but I think it holds to be true.
Awesome. Cool. So I guess let's switching gears to kind of follow up with no response, right? The other follow up, if you're trying to get that meeting scheduled, you're trying to get that demo or even sale. What do you do? Like, you've sent an email, nobody followed, no one responds.
Yeah, well, it happens all the time, obviously. What I definitely don't do is use, and Suja, I don't know how you feel about this, man, but you tell me if I'm off the mark or not, but I hate quick question as a subject line follow-up. I actually have a filter in my Gmail that if someone uses quick question, that it just goes to spam. So I don't know.
Question works. It worked in 2016. I've got a lot of data, right? So like I got 40 million emails of data and and connected to a lot of sales professionals who've done millions and millions of emails. Quick question was 2016's best email opener. It still works now, 2018, 2019. It'll probably work, but it's kind of downhill. The reason it doesn't work is because everyone's used it, right? Folks got smart and savvy. Like, I'm just going to add a filter, right? The funny thing is, I just sent my accountant an email this morning. I was like, hey, quick question. And it was about my taxes. So hopefully he doesn't have that filter set up. But yeah, you're right. Like the subject line game has to, it's an ever evolving thing.
Yeah.
What's working now, interestingly enough, is, and this will die eventually too, is, you know, when you send an actual intro email, you put like Gaetano X Sujin, and you might put the company name in brackets next to the name. That works well as as a really good opener. But you have to follow up. Like what you have to follow up. You have to your opener, your one line subject line gets the attention, but you got to keep it right. So, but anyways, we could talk all day long.
I like that though, because it seems like a calendar invite.
Yeah,
actually, it seems like calendar invite. Oh, you know, really interesting too. I was talking to this one sales rep who's very, very successful at landing that first meeting, and he says that's his tactic. Like he just straight up doesn't even send them an email. He just sends them a calendar invite with a description in the invite of like what the meeting's about. And he like crushes it. Like he gets
that is awesome. Yeah, because everybody's going for if you look at this, everyone's going for the call and in an email, right? That's the call to action. So you send these tens of thousands of emails or hundreds of emails, and you get a like 50% click open rate, 5% click through rate. These are great numbers here, and you get maybe 5% reply rate or whatever. And then you have a conversation to schedule a meeting. This guy just goes meeting.
Boom. Yeah, he just goes right for it.
Love it.
Oh, so back to the question though. We kind of sidetracked. The question was, what do I do if I can't get them to notice me or respond to me? How do I follow up then? What I usually do is just go to a different channel. I try to find them on social. If I have their number, I'll call them. I'll just try something different. Usually social is my go-to. Like it's really rare that like somebody is not on social media at all these days, unless it's like a C-suite person who's super busy. Like there's some CEOs that are just ghost. Like you can't get to them at all on social because they're just not on it. But most of the time, like your target sort of stakeholder is on social media in some form. And I just try to engage with them there if I can't get them through email.
I love that. And that was actually my next question was like literally I was going to read to you, are you doing anything to supplement your email out follow-ups? And it's like you answered already. So that's spot on. So social, if you can't find them, if it's B2B, I'm assuming LinkedIn, Twitter, probably better. Have you found any Facebook Messenger stuff?
Too creepy.
Too creepy?
Yeah, too creepy from like my experience. Like certain people have like hit me up on Facebook and like, to me it's cool because I'm a really chill dude. But I've heard from like other execs that they think it's totally creepy if like people hit them up on Facebook.
Yeah. I think the other part of this is that on Facebook, if you're not, I don't know where the connection barrier is, but a lot of times, and they keep changing this, a lot of times you'll end up in the message request folder, which is pretty much the equivalent of junk. And it's like you get a notification, but if you miss that notification, you really have no other opportunity unless you manually check that folder.
Right.
So yeah, that makes sense. Too creepy. I would say this. I would totally agree. I think Twitter, you'd be surprised how well Twitter follow-up DMs, like follow-ups via DM works.
Yeah. Have you gotten like deals closed that have originated from like a Twitter DM?
Absolutely. Yeah. DM, like I got invited to speak at Stanford from a DM.
Oh shit.
Yeah. Like I just DM'd the professor my ebook.
Wow.
And she's like, took like a month to respond, right? Because they don't check their email or Twitter ever, or nobody she's not active. But like then I got invited to speak at her lecture at her growth, her marketing entrepreneurship course or class. But yeah, it's like DM works, right? So DM's been spammed to death.
It has.
It works again. Yeah. Like everyone's like now the question is like, how do you stand out from all the spams in the preview tab?
Yeah.
I look at it every day and I'm like, because I get customers from Mailshake pinging me because I like my goal is like talking to customers and really I would call myself more of a customer success person than a marketer in my role today. But I get customers on Messenger, email, text message. It's crazy all over the place, right? So I'm kind of actively looking at these channels. So anyway, that's super smart. And again, you mentioned this. You've heard Nate and other interviewees mention this. Phone call, like phone call is not dead. That's like you're trying to do all these emails to get somebody on the phone in the first place. If you can get their number, get them.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah. Calling still definitely works. Luckily, brand and the power and clout of your brand has a lot to do with it as well. Like if I'm ever going to call someone out of the blue, I'm going to say, hey, it's Gaetano from Sales Hacker. And they're going to be like, oh yeah, I know Sales Hacker. I'm going to give this guy at least 5 seconds.
Yeah.
So like we're pretty fortunate to at least have that. But I just posted this on LinkedIn today. I'm noticing this like phenomenon of like startups that are totally ignoring marketing. And I get it, marketing is perceived to be a cost center and sales is a revenue producer, but they're like cold calling their way to like a couple million in ARR. No marketing at all. But
Wow.
there's some companies that are very, very, very good at this like guerrilla sales sort of tactic.
Nice.
And I'm sure their follow-up game is pretty good too, because I know a few companies who are getting to a couple million ARR with no marketing. So
Wow.
What do you think about that?
That's awesome. I think one thing you mentioned was like the brand carries a lot of weight when you follow up. And I think there's, at Web Profits, our agency, we have 6 or 7 salespeople, I think 7. We actually build out their personal brands and we help them write about marketing. We have a bunch of videos where the salespeople are actually doing this. Mm-hmm. So we spend time and we give them like the playbook of like what to do for marketing.
Nice.
And their follow-ups. One, when they follow up, it's like them sending a video of educational thing. So I think education or value, I always think about like a salesperson's first job is to like add value to someone's life, not sell them. And if the best sales happen when you can add value, your product, the thing that you're selling adds the value to the customer's pain point, right?
Oh yeah.
And so if you can follow up with helpful content, I think that's very, very key. That's been the one follow-up theme that's worked well for me, at least on the agency side.
Oh yeah. I love that you do that too. Like I get your Saturday emails, which are great, by the way. It's really nice to see something in my inbox on a Saturday that's really good. And all you do is share what you know and what you're doing in your day to day. And then maybe at the bottom, they'll be like, oh, and by the way, I'm speaking at XYZ. And it's really simple and clean. I really love that.
Yeah. Thank you, man.
Yeah.
Cool. So let's jump on to a couple more questions here. What's the best follow-up email or follow-up you've received? It doesn't have to be email, just follow-up.
Ooh, yeah. I think the best follow-up I received would probably be video. I really think video is slick. And when people can't like get to me, they'll send me like a follow-up video, be like, hey man, like, I've been seeing your stuff on LinkedIn. It's been really great. We'd love to connect. That's always really good. And then a subject line that caught my attention recently was, can you help me with this? And it was a separate thread. It wasn't like or whatever. It was like a separate thread. Can you help me with this? And the outreach was pretty genuine. And it was just saying like, hey, I would love to know if like we can talk about XYZ or whatever. And it was pretty good. So, or actually the person said, can you help me with this? I would love to know if we can talk about XYZ. And if you're not the right person, can you point me to the person who is responsible for this? So
nice.
Not a bad approach.
You dropped some awesome gems here. So the first, let me gonna reiterate. So you said video is a great follow-up. That's the best thing you received.
Yeah.
Two really good tools for this is Soapbox by Wistia and Vidyard's. I don't know what Vidyard's.
I think it's Go Video.
Go Video. Both are amazing, like follow-up things videos you can send over. Mm-hmm. I don't think you can really mass produce it. We're actually going to do a webinar with Wistia in the next few weeks or so.
Okay.
So anyways, that's one. I want to just mention 2 tools because, people are always like, well, how do I do this? The second thing you said was really important, which is a new subject line, right? Super small, but like really, really powerful because you missed the boat the first time around. It wasn't compelling. And you said actually 4 things. The third thing is you said that when you send a new subject line, you're like, if you're not the right person, who do I talk to, right?
Yep.
Very, very, like, I think at some point in your follow-up, you kind of have to ask them, like, do I need to talk to somebody else? Because do not give a crap, right?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Awesome. There was something else I was going to say too. So this is actually quite effective. Like if you can't and you got to do this tastefully because you don't want to make it seem like you're doing back channel. But if you realize that like you have a connection in common with this person, just nudging that person and saying, hey, can you make this happen? Like usually in the sales process, like if we have something happening with like company X and we have the target stakeholder, but then we realize that like our founder Max has a connection to someone at that company, and then we'll be like, hey, Max, can you help us like get this deal moving? And he'll, reach out and get some things happening for us.
Absolutely. Yeah. I think that's a great point, because you can, when you go and ping them on social, you go find them, you go to their LinkedIn profile, you're logged in, you have to be logged in really to do anything. You can see common connections, and maybe you can nudge some folks that you may know in common, or like you have an ally. So I think that's super awesome. And I want to kind of go back to the previous thing. The fourth thing I wanted to say, which is really important, is that like you said, new subject line, add somebody, email, say if they haven't, if they're not the right person to ask, is there someone else? But you could also CC that person, right?
Yeah.
And like if you email our support person, or you email support and you CC me, you bet before support, that will be the top of the list for support, because they're going to get a message from me on Slack. I'm going to ping them on email. And if it's late in the day, I will answer it myself. Right. So like, but like, I'm not messing around. Right. Like, but that's also a way to piss people off. So use that lightly.
Yeah. You got to be careful with that one, but that's big. If you can get it right, that's big.
Awesome, man. Any other things you want to add? I know we're going long here. So but you're dropping some knowledge. So,
I think just like, I don't know. I think what will save a lot of people, like, let's say if we go to that bucket of like, you already got the meeting. Don't leave yourself like in a position where you're going to be in an awkward, or you're going to have to follow up like mysteriously. Make sure like at the end of that, like first convo, once you get that first meeting or first conversation down, make sure when you end it that the next thing is already like in the books, defined, solidified. Like don't leave it to chance. That's probably like the final takeaway I would leave you with.
Absolutely. That's so smart. I mean, and such a simple thing, right? Don't leave them. You tell at the end of it, you recap what you did. And we were doing this every single answer. I'm recapping what you're saying. But it's also at the end, they know exactly what they're going to expect. I'm going to follow up on Monday. By the way, between now and Monday, you might see 3 emails from some helpful content. I'm going to give you a proposal, whatever, right? All these details. That's perfect. Well, dude, thank you for doing this.
Yeah, thank you.
Where can people find you?
Oh, yeah. Just hit me up on LinkedIn. You can search me, Gaetano DINARDI, on LinkedIn. You can see a bunch of stuff we're doing on Sales Hacker. Just go to saleshacker.com. We just launched the podcast, so that's pretty cool. We obviously have the blogs, the guides, the webinars, all that fun stuff. So check it out. And the next big thing we're doing is Sales Hacker London, the conference. So that's going to be way out in October. So just sprinkle it in your mind now that we got something going on in London if you're interested. So that's about it.
Awesome. Take care, guys. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. Take care, Sujin. Peace.